World of Tank Blitzers and hopefully a few future Mom Reds. Hey, I'm Littlefinger. Today I am back doing a review of the worst Tier 4 tank in the game. Yes, that's right. The SAU 40 is a French TD at Tier 4. You can see it here in the garage. Not a lot going for it. Armor's not great. It's got this huge commander's hatch on top, which is a ginormous target, and it is extremely slow. It does have a nice gun, but that is about it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the French tech tree here. I sure hope that this tank gets a nerf in the next upgrade, because I've played my battles in it and I'm done for now. I can't take it anymore. So, you start with the really small FTAC, go down to the even smaller UE57. Then comes this tank, which is super slow. The S35 gets a little bit faster, but none of these have any armor whatsoever. And I haven't heard very many people say good things about this line yet. So I'm going to leave it at that. Taking a look at your options with this, it comes with a 75 millimeter gun. You can see here a 6.8 rate of fire, a fairly decent AP penetration of 68 millimeters for Tier 4. But you'll want to probably upgrade to the 75 millimeter. This is the gun that I'm running with. You can see it's got 100 pen and does 160 damage, whereas the next gun up is the 105 millimeter. It's only got a rate of fire of 4 rounds per second, and it only shoots HE and has 30, get that, 30 penetration. So you're not penetrating anything. All you're doing is splash damage, and of course you're therefore not getting that full 400 hit points on each of your shots. So I went with the AP. Didn't have too much of a problem penetrating those Tier 5s. Remember, KV1 comes in right at 100 millimeters, just about everywhere on it. So that might be a benchmark to go with. Equipment and setup. Consumables first. Repair kit, multi-purpose and adrenaline, provision, standard fuel, canned pate, and protective kit. Ammunition, you can see here I was running 11 rounds of APCR, and of course you can change that to credits using the shell price button, which is nicely hidden there on the right. And equipment, you can see here I've only equipped the top level, and certainly do not think that this tank is a keeper, nor is it worthy of any spare parts whatsoever. So going with the reload time, because calibrated shells give you extra penetration, tank has good penetration, so let's get a little bit faster reload time in there. Protected modules, again, this goes to what you're running with. I prefer protected modules because I can protect against fire with my big kit. Improved optics over camouflage net. It's kind of a toss-up on this one. I was running a camouflage net, but you'll probably see in the battles I'm not stationary very long in this tank. First and foremost, it takes too long to even get to the battle because you're so slow. But anyway, let's take a look at how this tank compares to the rest of Tier 4. Alright guys, so here we are. We've got blitzstars.com pulled up using their tank compare page, and you can see the Somua SAU 40 on the left, French Tier 4 tank destroyer. That's about all that's good for it is the name, to be honest with you. So we've got the Hetzer Electo T40 M8 and the SU-85B all lined up here, and you can look at damage per minute. Every other tank is better, with the only exception there is the T40, who has 28% more penetration, doing the same amount of damage alpha of 160. So really, this is the worst TD, and it gets even worse from there. Aim time's right in line with all of the other ones. Dispersion's pretty good. And probably the only highlight of this tank is 10 degrees of gun depression. So you can play it fairly well on hills, except for the fact that you've got that commander's hatch sticking all the way up. So you can't actually get like hull down or anything, because they're just going to hit you right on that spot. So 7 degrees left, 8 degrees right before you have to move the tank and re-aim. You can see that's pretty bad. Only the Hetzer's worse at 5% left. The rest are much better at 15%, 22%. So again, another downside to this tank. And it gets worse. So speed, 37 kilometers per hour is the top speed. You look at the speeds there of the rest of them, that's much, much slower. Engine horsepower is only 268, and we have terrain resistance of 1.3, which is by far and away the worst of any TD. And I don't understand, the reason for that, because it's giving us an effective horsepower of 8.5. So this thing barely gets up hills. And I'll probably show a little bit of example of that in game here. It does traverse around itself fairly fast for a TD, which can be good if you're getting flanked. Move on down here to win rate, 51.3. Average damage, 486. I have nothing good to say about this tank. Hopefully this is one of those scenarios where the line is bad for a couple tanks and then gets really good for a couple tanks. But anyway, that's it on setup and characteristics. Let's take a look at some gameplay. So, first game I'm going to show you here is bottom tier on Canal. We are on the north side of the map. We've got quite a few mediums there, and this is sped up. Keep in mind, this is your first experience watching this tank. So we're going 26, 25 kilometers per hour, and I'll slow it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this camping spot up here. And this is real time now, so 6 kilometers per hour, 3. We can't make it up that. Let's try a little bit more of a gentle incline. We can barely make it up that. You can see how long this is taking. All of the reds have pushed all the way around now. And this is kind of painfully slow. But we should be far enough away that they can't spot us. We'll hit adrenaline, and unfortunately there we have to turn, so our camo resets. Just got 3 guys on the other side, and Covenanter spotted here on the hill. Get a shot into his tracks. And you see I get spotted there with the light bulb. Means you better get your butt moving to safety. So down off the hill we come. And again, 25 kilometers per hour. You can see you're not getting anywhere fast in this tank. I'm going to try to come around this mound here and get a shot in on the VK. Covenanter exposes himself. That guy could be hull down. And then he rams him and dies, which is not good for me, because now the VK's got a shot loaded and he didn't use it to kill the Covenanter, so he puts it into me. I'm going to back down and use this hill to the best of my advantage here. He goes over the hill, raises up, misses this shot, and we get the finishing touch in on him. So that was a little bit of mobility there, but I was using that hill to my advantage. So they've got 2 guys left. I was hoping I'd be able to get down in between there, but not quite enough. So now we'll push on this M7 here, and you can see the difficulty of this TD. aim in there and it totally chunks the shot. And that is also one of my frustrations with this tank. There seemed to be several times where it would miss shots that I didn't expect it to miss. I'd waited for the aim and everything. So if you add that into the slowness and lack of armor, this is just a really bad TD. Next game, bottom tier on Copperfield. Team calls left, which I agree with. I don't want to go right without a lot of help in this tank. I'd prefer to be as far away as possible from the enemy, preferably hiding in a bush somewhere. So you can see we come all the way around and they have flanked hard. So I'm going to turn around and try to get a shot in on the M4 here. Excuse me. Get the first shot in there. You can see with this fairly long reload time, we are unable to get another shot in before he goes behind the building. But we can shoot behind the concrete pipes and still penetrate. The Lux is shooting at us, and you can see he bounced most of those shots. One of the few tier 4 tanks that can't penetrate you, to be honest. Leo was nicely angled there. Knowing that I had just been spotted, I wanted to try to get into cover. And took a blind shot on that Leo, but looking at the stats after the game, I completely missed. So now we've got this Hetzer lined up. It's giving us a nice angle. Can't get that shot in, and while I was trying to back up, I missed an opportunity for another shot, and then the Leo got me on a full roll there. Thankfully, our Leo was pretty good in this game, and he was able to carry. So now I'm just watching that Hetzer turn. So I'm going to peek around, get a shot off, and then back to safety as fast as this tank can. And I'm just backing down the hill, trying to get reload in, but our Leo takes him out. So I'm hanging on here, 26 hit points left. And that Leo runs around and gets finished off by our Leo. And we do 624 damage as bottom tier. Alright, Castilla, top tier. And I will preface this game by saying this tank plays a lot better as top tier. There's a night and day difference. You know, some of these tanks, like I just did, the PZ4D, DW, they can hold their own at tier 5. In my opinion, this tank really struggles at the tier 5 games. So we're going to come around and hide in this bush around the corner. In a typical game, our medium should be up front spotting, but you can see they are all going rock climbing today. So we're not going to push forward because we don't know where the enemies are. We're in a good position. We can back up around this rock should we need it. And here comes the Stewart. So we spot him and wanted to go ahead and track him when I was hoping to get some damage done there, but we did track him but didn't get any damage in. So missed out on 160 hit points, and oh well, live and learn, I guess. So he gets 2 shots into us, bounces that last one, and we finish him off. T46 looks like he's coming up next, and wouldn't you know, M3 light, you know, it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's like some people just don't get this game, that hey, this TD is right here lined up on a shot, let's go ahead and block him. It's So, you know, on top of already being a difficult tank to drive, you've got to deal with your own teammates. So we pull out too far in front of that PZ4. D, take a couple unnecessary shots for sure. And not sure what this M3 light's doing. So base cap now is almost at 60. Our guys are all still sitting on rocks. So I'm not expecting this game to finish well. I got that M3 light. He should be there in about 10 seconds, but spot the D2 up on the hill here. We'll get a nice shot into him. And he's just going to sit there. We'll finish him off. Again, not sure why you sit in the same spot while you're getting shot. You certainly cannot play this game well if all you do is trade shots. That shot missed, and there's another example of a shot that I thought was aimed well. It just completely chunked. He can take us out in one shot, so we got to be extra careful. Make sure that he is turned. Trying to use those dead tanks and manage to pull that game off miraculously. So we finish with just over 1,000 damage there, 2 kills for a level 2 mastery, which was surprising we won that game, to be honest with you. Final game I'm going to show you here is, again, top tier Fort Despair. We're going to head left. Now we'll get down to regular speed here. Motoring along at 25 kilometers per hour. See if this M3 light will stick around the corner. Guys get impatient and we're going to rush them. Get our first shot into him there, and team finishes him off. Rest of the guys appear to be kind of at the entrance to the base there. Struggling a little bit there to get around. We missed. Oh my gosh. So you can see here, I'm just trying to hide behind this brick wall as much as possible. And then back down to safety when nobody else is spotted. Missed that rush shot on the Hetzer there. But now we shouldn't be spotted anymore. Take a shot there. You can see I'm trying to keep that giant cancerous tumor looking spot there hidden. And we'll go ahead and finish those even though we were taking shots from that cruiser there. So they've got 2 left. playing it cautious here, as you can see. Yeah, so really, I'm at a loss for words on this tank. It's really, really bad. And from what I'm hearing, the next tier up does not get any better. So I'm gonna stop reviewing this tank, and I'm gonna free EXP my way up to the next tank. So anyway, guys, if nothing else, hopefully you learn not to play this tank. As always, stay safe out there, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.